is exactly what I said on my show. I said Diddy gonna end up doing 24 months in prison. The judge gave him 50 months, but you gotta realize he already had 14 months in it, practically. And he's going to get credit for 2 months of that 14 months. That give him 16 months. He's gonna do 24 months, which is gonna give him about 30 months, because he only had to do 85% in the feds, and he goes to probably a halfway house. So he got off like a fat rat in a cheese factory. But for a dude like Diddy going to jail and spending all that time, you know, I'm not saying it's gonna be rough or nothing like that, because his former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burrows, went to federal jail. You understand? Lil' Kim went to federal jail. So, you know, because the type of dude he is, you know, he'll make it, he'll be all right. And plus they gonna send him to a camp, bruh. He'll be in somebody camp or somebody dormitory, whereas that it'll be real light for him. So, you know, he'll see the streets back again in 24 months.
Gandil predicted years ago that Sean Diddy Combs would pay for his crimes. And now, almost 2 years after the raids on his mansion, everything that Gandil said has come true. Now Gandil is finally breaking his silence on what he thinks about Diddy's sentence and what is going to happen to Diddy behind bars. This isn't the end of Diddy's story. And believe it or not, Diddy is still trying to get out. A formal petition for his release has been presented to President Trump, and history is just beginning.
It is exactly what I said on my show. I said Diddy gonna end up doing 24 months in prison. The judge gave him 50 months, but you gotta realize he already had 14 months in it practically, and he's gonna get credit for 2 months of that 14 months. They give him 16 months. He gonna do 24 months, we're gonna give him about 30 months because he only had to do 85% in the feds, and he goes to probably a halfway house. So he got off like a fat rat in a cheese factory. Before a dude like Diddy going to jail and spending all that time, you know, I'm not saying it's going to be rough or nothing like that, because his former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burrows, went to federal jail. You understand? Lil' Kim went to federal jail. So, you know, because the type of dude he is, you know, he'll make it. He'll be all right. And plus, they're going to send him to a camp, bro. He'll be in somebody's camp or somebody's dormitory, whereas that it'll be real life for him. So, you know, he'll see the streets back again in 24 months.
Diddy's 50-month sentence might sound like a lot, but keep in mind that he only has to serve out like 2 years. 2 years in exchange for everything he did is nothing. And according to Gandil, Diddy is lucky. The prosecutors wanted 11 years, but the judge only sentenced him to 50 months, way below the federal guidelines. Diddy didn't get charged for the guns found at his house. He didn't get charged for the drugs, and he didn't even get any assault charges, even though he was caught on tape and confessed to it. Why is that?
The judge spoke about his coercion, his relevant conduct. The judge spoke about, you know, mitigating circumstances. You understand? A lot of the judge spoke about, you know, look at here. He got caught with drugs, never got charged with the drugs. And the judge knew that. That's why the judge said relevant conduct. You understand? He got caught with guns in the house with the serial number. The judge knew that. You understand? Relevant conduct. You understand? He didn't get charged with the beating up Jane, hitting in the head, the assault and all that stuff of Cassie. All those things, they probably couldn't, I don't guess they could have charged him with it, but they came up in the trial. All that's relevant conduct. You understand? And people don't understand all the things that he was doing. Then the judge made a point when you go and talk to the managers and you talk to people about hiding evidence. You understand? Remember the fact in the trial when it came up that he gave a guy $100,000 and some thousand or $100,000 to keep the tape that from Cassie and them? That's relevant conduct. If a judge was speaking about all that.
Diddy doesn't deserve any sympathy. Gene says Diddy was coming after his life for the things he was saying. How can Gene have sympathy for a man that tried to kill him? Diddy didn't have any sympathy for his victims. He has no remorse. His only regret is that he got caught. I fought to keep guys out of jail for 27 years, but do I care about him going to jail? No, I don't. Bro, I'm sorry. God just gonna have to take that off my heart, but that's my enemy. He made it clear. He made it clear when he was sending at me, when he was doing shit, when he was setting dudes up, when he was, when he cursed Wolf Mother out, when he set Wolf up to go at BMF. That shit became my enemy, bro, as well as I became his. So why should I care? He did a whole lot to a whole lot of people, and now he's paying for it. So all these cats, I guess y'all get y'all visitation rights. Some of y'all can get y'all conjugal visits right with him. I don't give a shit. That's how I feel about it, bro. Now, what's the real reason that Diddy was able to get such a short sentence? Everyone on the streets knows that Diddy was cooperating with the feds. Gene and Sugg have said this multiple times. Diddy fed them information, and in return, he got immunity for most of his crimes. Diddy didn't even get charged for most of the crimes. On the day of his arrest, drugs and guns were confiscated from his hotel room. Neither of these things ended up on his charge sheet.
But that's always a great day for the family. Overall, though, it's not surprising. You know, we do all know one thing. Like I said before, Puffy has strong ties with the government, with the feds, and anybody else would have been cooked. Done. I mean, that's the first time in history that a person finna go get sentenced and they can actually put on a campaign like they running for the president of the United States, where they can show videos and pretty much everything. Only thing I was waiting on was the fact that I was waiting on him to bring out the DJ and start playing music and let him do what he do best, dance and shake that ass and end up with no time. And the other side of it is that, or the sad side of it is that I couldn't believe that not one of his baby mothers came in to support him or testify. And I was surprised by that, because that shows a lot about the character. I still think it's fair that Puffy got less time, because the other people who's involved in this case, other executives, other people, they didn't get punished at all. They walked away untouched. So in society, it's a fair side and it's a shit side.
Diddy sent a letter to the judge telling him that he deeply regretted his actions and how he was sorry for all the hurt and pain that he has caused. At the same time, he was constantly threatening everyone that spoke out against him. Everyone that dared to testify against him was receiving threats. Combs apologized for his actions in a letter to the judge overseeing that case. The letter is 4 pages. In it, he says, quote, "I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs, and the former Star Maker apologizes to all the people he has hurt and begged for mercy at his sentencing." Combs directly apologized to Cassie Ventura and the woman who testified under the pseudonym Jane at trial for hurting them. "I literally lost my mind. I was dead wrong for putting my hands on the woman that I loved. I'm sorry for that and always will be. My domestic violence will always be a heavy burden I have to carry forever," he said, of Cassie. Diddy, of course, was accustomed to living large in lavish homes and flying on private jets. Further into the letter, he describes what he says his prison conditions are like. Quote, "For over a year, I've been locked in one room with 25 other incarcerated people sharing the same one room. I'm not expecting pity or sympathy, but my time at MDC has changed me forever." Right before Diddy's sentencing, Cassie even wrote a letter to the judge saying that she has already moved all of her family out of New York just in case Diddy manages to get out. That's how scared Cassie is. Cassie Ventura was the star prosecution witness at Sean Combs' trial and wrote this to the judge, and I quote, "For 4 days in May, while 9 months pregnant with my son, I testified in front of a packed courtroom about the most traumatic and horrifying chapter of my life. I testified that from the age of 19, Sean Combs used violence, threats, substances, and control over my career to trap me in over a decade of abuse. He groomed me into performing repeated sex acts with hired male sex workers during multi-day freak-offs, which occurred nearly weekly. I was forced into lingerie and heels and told exactly how to look and plied with drugs and alcohol so he could control me like a puppet. These acts were degrading and disgusting, leaving me with infections, illnesses, and days of physical and emotional exhaustion before he demanded it all over again. Ply days became my full-time job, used as the only way to stay in his graces, his good graces." Cassie Ventura says that she has spent the past 7 years rebuilding her life, engaging in, quote, dozens of types of therapy, but still says that she has, quote, nightmares and flashbacks on a regular basis. She says that she moved her entire family out of New York for fear that Sean Combs may have some retribution in mind. She told the judge that she hopes he pays for what he did, whether the jury believed her or not. Gene Deal said exactly the same. Diddy is an abuser and he doesn't deserve any sympathy. Diddy and his lawyers will say whatever it takes to get him out and are trying even now to get Diddy a pardon from President Trump.
And it says fuck him and feed him bean. I can care less about his sadness. I can care less about him being in pain. I can care less about what he has to be faced with in court or in jail now. I don't have no remorseful feelings for him, bro. You understand? This is somebody that at one time I would have given my own life for. And to know this nigga was trying to get people to take my life because I was trying to teach him to be right by people and tell them to be right by people, I have no remorse for this dude, bro. To seem like that, I know there's a God. And you can feel all the way you want to feel about me. You can say whatever you want to say about me. But karma is a mother...
Diddy's life behind bars is going to be horrifying. And there are already rumors that Diddy might try to harm himself. Even during his stay at the MDC, Diddy was depressed, and Gene predicted that Diddy might do something or pull an Epstein.
The first few months are going to be the hardest for him. And it's not just because of the lack of adjustment.
Diddy's life is genuinely in danger. Everybody's when they first go to prison. Everybody's idle. If you've never been to prison before, you've never been behind bars, everybody's. Then you get used to it. It becomes your livelihood. You learn how to stay alive. You got a crust of bread in the corner to sleep in. Everything else is a blessing. But you knowing Diddy personally, do you think it's possible he might take his life?
It takes a certain individual to prepare himself to do a lot of years in jail from the lifestyle that he had. I'm not saying that he can't. I just don't see him able to do time behind bars. Maybe if he be in a camp type situation, that's a possibility. But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he had to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that he may commit. He do Epstein. Why you think he can pull up a Russell Simmons and lead the country? They was watching him, bro. They was watching him. And then I think that he had to turn over his passport. Even if you own your own private jet, they have a system up there where it's that they supposed to check your passport and anything that you need to fly as if you were flying commercial.